Illicit Sex Life, an essential subject from Vinaypedia. The Krishna consciousness movement is not very popular with the karmas because this movement recommends that one refrain from illicit sex, meat eating, gambling and intoxication. These are restrictions that karmas very much dislike. If one avoids these sinful activities, the further subsidiary sinful activities are automatically stopped. Srila Prabhupada's books, lectures, conversations and letters offer a comprehensive presentation of this essential subject as seen in the Vinay's Illicit Sex Life category. An introduction from his books is given below in the following 8 quotes. Quotes from Srila Prabhupada's books. People do not consider how they are risking their lives in an attempt to have illicit sex life, kill animals to satisfy their tongue, enjoy intoxication and gamble. It is very regrettable that the leaders of the world do not know of the effects of these sinful activities. They are instead taking things very easily and are succeeding in making the ocean of nescience wider and wider. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.24, 75. The greatest calamity in life is to become godless and therefore sinful. If the state head or king allows the citizens to become sinful by indulging in illicit sex life, intoxication, meat eating and gambling, then the king is responsible, and he has to suffer the resultant sequence of reactions for the sinful lives of the citizens because he levies taxes on them unnecessarily. These are the principles for a ruling power, and because Maharyapithu observed all the principles for a ruling chief, he is referred to here as Dharya. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.20. 21. One who is not in Krishna consciousness usually cannot sit silently even for half an hour. The yoga system teaches that if you become silent you will realize that you are God. This system may be alright for materialistic persons, but how long will they be able to keep themselves silent? Artificially, they may sit down for so-called meditation, but immediately after their yogic performance they will engage themselves again in such activities as illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating and many other nonsensical things. Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 1. Men and women whose lives were built upon indulgence in illicit sex life are put into many kinds of miserable conditions in the hells known as T-Misra, and Hati-Misra and Raurava. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.30. 28. The only desire should be the desire to render service. Neglect of restrictions and prohibitions is also disadvantageous. The prohibitions are mentioned in the authorized scriptures. One should not indulge in illicit sex life, intoxication, meat eating or gambling. These things are forbidden to one who is attempting devotional service. If one does not follow these principles strictly, there may be a severe disturbance in the discharge of devotional service. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Chapter 1. Men and women whose lives were built upon indulgence in illicit sex life are put into many kinds of miserable conditions in the hells known as T-Misra, and Hati-Misra and Raurava. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.30. 28. The only desire should be the desire to render service. Neglect of restrictions and prohibitions is also disadvantageous. The prohibitions are mentioned in the authorized scriptures. One should not indulge in illicit sex life, intoxication, meat eating or gambling. These things are forbidden to one who is attempting devotional service. If one does not follow these principles strictly, there may be a severe disturbance in the discharge of devotional service. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Chapter 1. Sons and daughters should not be allowed freedom to intermingle with the opposite sex unless they are married. This Vedic social organization is very good in that it stops the promulgation of illicit sex life, or Varasakara, which appears under different names in this present day. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.27. 8. A Krishna-conscious boy, even if he is not very well educated by the university standard, can immediately give up all illicit sex life, gambling, meat eating and intoxication, whereas those who are not in Krishna consciousness, although very highly educated, are often drunkards, meat eaters, sex-mongers and gamblers. Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 1. If one indulges in illicit sexual relations with another man's wife, that activity is considered identical with having sex with one's mother. This act is most sinful. The same principle holds for a woman also. If she enjoys sex with a man other than her husband, the act is tantamount to having sexual relations with her father or son. Illicit sex life is always forbidden, and any man or woman who indulges in it is punished. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.26. 20.